And so briefly, for those of you who don't know, I had a wonderful opportunity to talk with a woman named Linda and Joanne about the great ballot initiatives there. And so in Marion, I called up these ladies and said, give me the good, the bad, and the ugly of your campaign and let me know what happened. And so in Marion, do you all know the ballot initiative that took place in Marion? Okay. For those of you who don't, briefly, so in 2008, there was an initiative put on the ballot to consolidate the city and county health departments out in Marion. And as it was described to me, this was an issue that had been around for a long, long, long time. Studies have been documented that the beneficial nature of consolidating these things, but essentially the political will wasn't there. It turned out that executive director from a chamber of commerce really took up the issue, hired a political consultant, and determined we could do a ballot initiative. The chamber reached out to the League of Women Voters and said it would be better if the League was the face of this. We'll fund it, but will you be the face of it? The Marion League said, sure, that's great. And they did what you guys do best. They held educational forums, they circulated petitions, they talked to editorial boards, and they got it on the ballot, and they got it passed. In Cuyahoga, am I pronouncing that? Cuyahoga County, my Chicago accent, but Cuyahoga County, the issue, as I understand it, was also very interesting because it was, again, an issue of a change in form of government that the concept of it had been around for a long time. There had been several attempts at ballot initiatives. And being from Illinois, I understand the nature of corruption and the effect that it can have on government. And apparently when some FBI investigations started about the current form of government and the unaccountable nature, it really provided a great shot in the arm to the movement, to the reform movement, which the League and some primary organizers, I understand about 3 to 6 public officials who were bipartisan and reform-minded came together, in addition with some other individuals, to really think about how can we change the corporate charter of the city to be more accountable, right? Okay. And it was unbelievable that in the course of 5 weeks, more than 80,000 signatures were gathered. 80,000 signatures by actually a very small contingency of people, right? So that, I think, again, these two experiences really highlight kind of the nuts and bolts of how do you execute a campaign, okay? So what I have that I'm going to circulate is when a citizen group comes to us, we kind of sit down. We do this very methodically in terms of figuring out what do you want, what are the issues that you're looking at, what are the resources. And when when the citizen group first comes in, and I say, okay, so tell me your story, and they say, 10 years ago, this happened. And all that background information is very important. But again, when we ask the groups to just brainstorm what are the issues that you're concerned about 25 issues, inevitably, we can detail. But they all kind of combine to groupings, inevitably, that become transparency-related issues, accessibility issues, and accountability issues. Any way you cut it, those tend to be the 3 groupings. And so what we do is we sit down and we start putting the pieces together. But as all of you know, there are barriers to that. And so I'm not going to use my whiteboard. I'm going against my nature to use the whiteboard. But why don't people get involved? Why don't they get involved? Just shout it out.
They don't feel like they know enough.
They don't feel like they know enough, right? Apathy.
Political repercussions.
Political fear, right? Fear, apathy, fear. They feel like they don't know enough. Anything else? They're burned out. What about the organizers that have been doing this for a long time? And someone says, there's always, the 2 or 3 people in the community who are kind of the hardcore activists, and you're the people that everyone comes to when there's a problem that says, you know what you should do? You should really, And you know, and people come to us all the time too. They come to us and they say, "Do you know this is going on? What are you going to do about it?" And my response is, "Well, what are you going to do about it? You know, let's sit down and let's do something about it together." So I'm going to pass out this advocacy chart that our organization starts with when we talk to people about how to organize a campaign.